Newcastle United finished the season in 7th place after a fantastic final day win against Brentford, but whether we get Europa League Conference isn't decided until this weekend in the FA Cup final, so we'll talk a little bit about that. The Newcastle squad has now arrived in Australia for our 2 post-season games over the next 4 or 5 days, so I'll tell you guys how you can watch those games in this video. If we do get Europa League Conference, there's a few players that we maybe would have thought would have left this summer are now being quite heavily linked to getting a new deal, the likes of a Dummett and a Ritchie. So I want to talk a little bit about that and get your thoughts down in the comments on giving those guys new contracts. And as always, we're approaching the summer window. We are being linked to players. Heavy links to Ramsdale over the last few weeks, but as of this morning, Mamadashvili, the Valencia goalkeeper, is being quite heavily linked. And I tell you what, I would take him. Yes, guys, welcome back to Toon Tuesdays. Plenty to get through. The season's over, but there's loads to talk about in this video, more than what I've just mentioned. So we'll get cracking. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. It costs you guys nothing to hit that button. It just means that it helps me and my channel reach that little bit further. And it also means that you guys are notified every time I post a video. If you are interested in seeing a little bit of extra content, down in the description, go check out my members and Patreon. Big up to all my members and my patrons for helping me out. And Patreon's actually free at the moment for a trial. So if you want to go check out some extra content on there, be sure to do so. But yes, the season's over, 7th place finish. I tell you what, it was a good season for me. I get it, you know, we are waiting on the weekend to find out whether we've got European football. But beating PSG in the Champions League, beating Sunderland for the first time in however many years, after so many injuries, so many challenges to, you know, even be within, you know, a final few games of grabbing some European football was good for me. And I know it's easy to go, well, you know, 3-4 years ago would have died for it. That's true. After getting Champions League, it's always going to be hard to maintain that. And I think we really put in a good shift this season overall. And when Man City beat Manchester United at the weekend and we get that Europa League Conference, then that will be a real topping on the cake. Now, you can go through, you know, Europa League will be money, it'll be better transfers, it'll be helping players, but I just think, if anything, it's just progression. We've got to try and stick in some sort of European football from now on, really, you know, at a minimum as Conference League. If Man City win, Europa goes to Chelsea, Europa League Conference comes to us. If Manchester United win, they get Europa League, Chelsea get Conference, and we get nothing. So we really need to hope, get your blue shirts on, ready for Saturday as a helicopter goes over. I tell you what, by the way, it's been lovely and sunny all week, and the day I choose to do this video is the one where it's absolutely minging. But I'll tell you where the weather will be nice. Australia. Newcastle have landed in Australia. We have 2 games over the next 4 or 5 days. Now, I'll be honest, Eddie Howe and Trippier themselves, well, they haven't condemned the trip, but they have come out and said that the players probably could have done with a rest rather than heading halfway around the world. But they seem to be smiling in the videos, and I'm sure they will be first class. Business class, the best class you can get, with lovely hotels, and they seem to be smiling in all the photos anyway. Grant Kowal has gone out to join them, the young lad that we bought a couple of years ago. Now, hasn't really maybe had the story he would have liked over the last few years and some poor loan spells, but hopefully a chance for him to get in front of Eddie Howe and show what he can do. And we have, as I said, 2 games over the next 3 or 4 days. Wednesday morning, I think around 10:30, we play Spurs. Friday morning, around 7 a.m, this is all UK time, we play against the Australia 11. Now, if you're a season ticket holder or a member, you will get an email from the club with your voucher code that you use, and then it basically lets you watch the game for free. If you don't have either of those, you can pay to watch the game. It's $4.99 a game or $7.99 for the pair. So get onto the Newcastle website, go and sort yourself out. I think it's very, very interesting, actually, with regard to memberships and that kind of thing, because the likes of, I don't have a membership, because really memberships are very much get your ticket for the game. I think memberships will start to get bigger and bigger and bigger over the next few years. Things like this, being able to become a member, to watch this game, watch that game, to do this, to do that. So I think this is almost like an inkling of what's to come for membership. So even for someone with a season ticket like me, I might have to maybe start looking at that next season. But anyway, yeah, 2 games over there. Plenty of content coming out from Newcastle, I'm sure. Trippier's out there. Gordon isn't. But both of them have been included in the provisional Euros squad. Southgate has dropped Henderson. He's dropped Rashford. He's picking players on merit. What the hell is going on? Gordon has made it. Big up to him, and Trippier, despite his injury, has made it as well. So very happy for them both. It is the provisional, but it's a chance to get in and show what they can do ahead of the Euros just around the corner. And as I mentioned, Trippier has gone to Australia. Gordon hasn't. But he's not sitting on his backside watching telly. He's actually been, he was actually in hospital recently, going to see a young kid who hasn't been very well. The story is that it got tweeted online. Everybody retweeted it. And within about 30 minutes of this tweet going out there, Gordon apparently had got in his car, gone down to meet the kid in the hospital, given him a shirt. And it just shows, you think about how much stick he got when he got at Everton, as to whether he was... God, there's another helicopter coming. This isn't my day-to-day. Or a plane? But yes, big up to Gordon and Trippier on their provisional Euro squad. Hopefully they get to the tournament. Hopefully we win. That would be quite nice as well. I will have some Euro content this summer, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Newcastle kits, Adidas kits are being leaked, revealed everywhere at the moment. Expected to be released at the end of May, if not the very start of June. In fairness, when we were getting leaked kits this time last year, they weren't all perfect, but they were pretty damn close. And I do expect the Newcastle kits to very much resemble what is being posted online at the moment. The black and white kit, at the end of the day, I do like it. I like the stripes on it. The big white patch on the black back, I'm not sure I am over the moon with. But interestingly, that's what we had in the Champions League, and I really like that as well. So take it with a pinch of salt. What it looks like online isn't always perfect to what it looks like in person, and we all know that Adidas will do a good job. But at the end of the day, Castole tops were falling apart, like the stitching was all over the shop. So at the very least, we'll have a top that might actually withstand, a couple of weeks wear and tear. And I'm looking forward to seeing the away and the third kits as well. If I'm honest, I think they will be expensive. I think it will probably be the most expensive kit Newcastle has ever released. I think it will be 85 quid. And if you want to go and buy all 3 for your whole family, you might have to start probably saving 3 months ago, to be honest. I think I'll probably go for the away kit first, and then maybe slowly get the rest of the kits as the season goes over. Who knows? Maybe with Europa League conference badges on it. That would be one to certainly keep a hold of. So we'll look forward to that. And if we do get Europa League conference, could we end up with some contracts going to players that maybe we would otherwise thought would have left the club, all down to the homegrown rules. Now, we had all of this in the Champions League last season. The likes of, Gillespie, Paul Dummett, is Gillespie definitely? Oh, I don't know if he definitely is. I think he might have left too young. Anyway, Dummett, Longstaff, Anderson, Miley was too young anyway, so he gets in at under 21s. The idea that you need to fill so many spots of your squad with players that were either, I think it's 4 have to have been at the club for so many years before the age of 15 or 16, and then another 4 have got to be from this country or trained in this country. So that's when the likes of a Matt Ritchie come in, because although he wasn't at Newcastle as a kid, he was still developed in this country. And it's interesting because I do get it. I appreciate that if we don't put, you don't get kicked out. You can't, they don't kick you out if you can't do it. You just don't have as many squad spaces. Rather than a 25-man squad, you just take 24, or you just take 23, or you just take 22 or 21, and then it's 8. And then you start going, well, hang on, we actually do need these players, because if we don't, we're not filling the squad. And with our injury issues last time around, we could do with really filling them up. The trouble with it, however, for me, is that we did take the likes of Dummett. And look, I always be careful whenever I try and talk about Dummett or Ritchie or some of these guys or even Dubravka or Carriot or whoever, because it's very easy to sit and go, get them out. But in reality, for a lot of years, Dummett worked really hard. He's been there for 12 years. He got his chance in the Champions League last season, buzzing for him, But as much as we need to have these homegrown players to fill the squad, if we're not going to play them, then there's no point of taking them. And I think that's my struggle with this, is that I do understand why you want to fill the squad, you want to have the players available, but we were literally moving players into, like, Murphy was playing right back just because we didn't want to play a Ritchie in midfield. Like, we were bringing in Miley at 17. In fairness, Miley turned out to be absolutely class, and it was one of the best things that happened to us this season. But we were bringing in youth academy kids because we didn't trust Matt Ritchie to play in midfield. So I'll be interested to get your thoughts on this down below. As I mentioned already, we've not even got it yet. We need to find out what happens on Saturday, but that's a lot of talk at the moment. Is it because Eddie Howe just wants to keep these players around? You know, where is the line? Because I want to really go out and get some players this summer, and we can't do both. And with regards to bringing players in, we have had some heavy transfer links this morning. Now, one of those links, actually, from the last few days was Ross Barkley. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that one, because let's be honest, he ripped us to shreds on two occasions this season, was the quarterback of Luton Town. But I think that kind of relates back to what we discussed a moment ago. And look, bringing in Ross Barkley on a free for a season or maybe two could be a fantastic bit of business. But I just think when you've got the likes of Minty out on loan, Grant Kowal trying to come through, what about Harrison Ashby? We've seen nothing of him. I just think that we need to start taking steps forward with maybe some of the youth squad or bringing new players in. I don't know that giving Ross Barkley a season is maybe the answer, or maybe I'm totally wrong. You let me know your thoughts down below. But this player, however, is his next player is definitely someone Newcastle should be bringing in. Mamadashvili, the Valencia goalkeeper. Now, Newcastle have been, having goalkeeper talks for ages, it feels. Even before Nick Pope, it was Dubravka was fine. And then, remember this? Remember it was like whether we thought Nick Pope was a good idea or not. And then, good God, was it a good idea? He's been fantastic. Dubravka's been struggling. It looks like Dubravka's going to leave. Karius is going to go. Links to Ramsdale. Now, I'm going to be honest, if the talks of Ramsdale for like 10-15 million are true, which I honestly would struggle to believe considering Arsenal paid about 40 million for him. There's other people coming out and saying that they would want at least 40, which I just do not think I think it's too much. I think it's too much to go and get Ramsdale. Ramsdale doesn't hugely excite me anyway. I think he's a second choice at Arsenal for a reason. Whether he could come in and be second choice behind Pope and then challenge over time is certainly a maybe. He does know the league, but the likes of Mamadashvili, the Valencia goalkeeper, I think he got a record for the first ever La Liga player to get 60 appearances in a row. I think they only paid like €1 million for him. He's really held his place down, become a very top player, and Newcastle are now interested. He's 6'5", he's 23 years old. Nick Pope, I think, is like 32, 33, which by all means for a goalkeeper isn't old. I think he's definitely got a season, if not two in him. But to have someone, a younger player, to come in behind him, to probably challenge for that number one spot, and to know that if, Nick Pope, that's the thing, has been injured this season with elbow, shoulder troubles, and to not bring in a capable goalkeeper who can play if needed I think is important. Like, it's easy to say that we don't need it because Nick Pope will be fine all season. Well, he wasn't fine this season, and had we have had a capable, no offense to Dubravka, capable second choice goalkeeper, I think we probably would have had Europa League already. People are saying that we could add Champions League. Now, I don't want to overshoot that, but bearing in mind we're 3 points behind Chelsea, the number of easy goals we let in could have been avoided if Dubravka had have been playing the way he did a few years ago. So I think it's a great option to bring in a young 23-year-old goalkeeper, Mamadashvili. The reported fee is around 25 to 30 million. Now, again, in a summer where we want to spend that money on strikers, right wingers, and all sorts, to spend it on a goalkeeper isn't necessarily exciting me a whole lot. But if we could bring in a Lloyd Kelly on a free, who, by the way, has turned around and confirmed to Bournemouth that he will be leaving this season, if we bring him on a free, the likes of a Tossin on a free, you've got two centre-backs and a goalie for €30 million. I tell you what, that's not bad going. So let me know your thoughts on Mamadashvili down below. Let me know your thoughts on contracts to the likes of Dummett and Ritchie. Let me know your thoughts on the strips, and let me know your thoughts on your predictions for the Manchester FA Cup derby this weekend. Can Newcastle get that Europa League conference? I really hope so. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, drop a like, be sure to subscribe, as I mentioned already. It's free to do, so if you're still watching this video now and you haven't subscribed, hit the button. Do me a favour, it's free. It helps the channel go that little bit further, and yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later.